Welcome back, class. Welcome back, Marketing Genius. I hope the first day wasn't too rough on you. Today we're going to be talking about key to defining your purpose. Now this really has to do with your mission or your mission statement. Now, typically when I do this, I'm not going to do it today, I take people through a visualization process and I have them visualize their funeral. That way they can really look at what's important to them. I ask them to picture what people are saying about them at their funeral. So after everything's said and done, what have you really accomplished? This is a great personal exercise, and it's something that I recommend for you. It's also something you can put in the context of a company. So what do you want people to say about your company, say 40, 50 years from now? There's a few things to remember when you write your mission statement. And the mission statement will be built on these kind of things. What's really important to you? What's your long-term focus? What is going to drive your organization? One of the things about mission statement is it needs to be memorable. Now, I've worked with organizations and their mission statements are like 12 pages long, and these are just something that people are really, truly not going to remember. So when you're creating a mission statement, make sure it's something that is easy to remember so that it's actually going to be relevant to them. And that's another key. Make it something that is connected to them and is relevant, is really something that they're going to put into action and use as they're doing their task in your organization or as they're doing marketing promotions. The other thing to do is to really make it theirs. A lot of times when I work with organizations, they'll create a mission statement. The president or the CEO or a couple of people will get together and say, this is the mission of our company, or this is the purpose of our product, and this is what we're going to do. And they just hand it down to the employees and the members of the organization and expect them to really buy into it. Well, if you want people to buy in to your mission statement, you really need to make them a part of the creation of that mission statement. Now, part of why I have people go through a personal mission statement first is that when I start talking about mission statements, it's not really real to people. But when you do a personal mission statement, you start to realize what this really means. Then you can really apply that to your corporation. So you can have a really great, lofty mission statement, and it's important to set the direction of your organization. But to really get things done and to drive you towards fulfilling your mission, you need to set some goals. So really laying out some goals, some long-term and short-term strategy. There's some goals in your worksheets, and there's some goal forms on the website that you can download that will really help you focus on doing specific tasks that will help you accomplish your goals and fulfill your mission. Now, once you have this in place, the mission becomes a filter for every decision that you make. So if you have a mission for a particular product or marketing plan that you're putting together, every decision that you make, you're going to filter through the mission of what's the purpose of this product and what are we really trying to accomplish. Another thing about mission statements, they really should be long-term and something that is unchanging, something that you can depend on. But at the same time, you want to go back and look at them every 6 months or so and really make sure that you're on track with your mission, that you are actually fulfilling your mission. And if you aren't, there's a couple of things you can do. You can either change your mission statement to be more reflective of what your organization is about, or you can get yourself back on track and say, hey, somewhere along the line, we've gotten away from what our real purpose is, and we need to get back and do what our mission says we're here to do. Now, in some cases, it's not really that hard of a process for people to, or an organization to come up with a mission statement. They kind of have one already. They kind of have a common purpose or mission that they're working towards. So it's more a matter of people discovering what that mission is. I've worked with some organizations that just sitting with the leadership, they've said, this is really what our organization is about. This is what we're moving towards. But then as they start to talk about that with their people get more excited. They feel like they're part of something. They're like, yeah, that really is what we're about. So creating a mission statement and getting everybody going in the same direction really is a good process. Now, another reason why mission statements are important is because of the concept of alignment. Now, how many of you have ever hit your car on a curb or something like that, and when you start driving or your car's off alignment and it's trying to pull you into oncoming traffic? It's very disturbing. That's happened to me before. You can actually illustrate that with the car. So picture this car, much worse than just hitting a curb. You've actually got the wheels going in 4 different directions. So this one's going forward, this one's going backwards, this one's kind of going to this side, and this one's kind of going to this side. It's going to be very difficult to drive that car, and it's going to do something like this. You're not going to be able to have any forward progression in a car like that. Well, there's a similar thing in an organization. When you look at an organization, you have different levels within the organization. Now, yours might not look exactly like this, so you can fill in the titles of the people that are in your particular organization. But we'll use this as an example. So you've got your CEO, your vice presidents, your managers, and your employees. Now, typically, in a lot of organizations, you've got a CEO saying, well, we're going to go in this direction. And you've got VPs going, no, I think we're going to go in this direction. You got managers saying, hey, I think we're going that way. And your employees are going that way. So it's much like a car that's out of alignment. You're not going anywhere. This organization isn't going anywhere. So what's the solution to this problem? How do we get everybody going in the same direction? Well, what were we just talking about? That's right, we're talking about mission statements. Mission statements are a way for you to align your organization and say, this is the direction we're going. We want everybody going in the same direction. And this is what that direction is. So it's very clear to everyone. Then people can say, oh, I see where we're going. We're going this way. Now, where's this organization going? They're going very far. Everybody's working together. This is very powerful. They have a lot of momentum, and they're all pushing. They're all going in the same direction. Now, another thing to keep in mind, we talked about developing a personal mission statement. If your personal mission statement is going in a different direction than your company's mission statement, again, you're going to have problems. You're out of alignment with your company. So you're going to need to have people working for your organization that are able to go in this direction. For example, if my personal mission statement is to be a dictator and control everyone, then working for a nonprofit charity that's for democracy or things like that, probably going to be some kind of conflict in our mission statements, and it's probably not going to work out. So this is part of why some organizations don't actually put together a mission statement, or they struggle with this process, because they realize that people are going in different directions, some for personal reasons, and when you really put yourself out there and say, hey, this is our mission and this is what we're doing, you're going to have some conflict. Now, another circle is for principles. Because it's one thing to have a mission statement and say, you know, this is what I think we're about, or this is what we're going to do. But if your mission statement is to have a faulty product that rips people off, you're probably not going to get very far. So you need to make sure that your company mission statement and all these mission statements are in alignment with principles like the 7 keys. So if you're doing marketing that's not in alignment with the 7 keys and those principles, you might have some success and you might stumble forward, but I guarantee you're also going to be taking some steps backwards. And if you're actually following these and you're in harmony and in alignment, you're going to go much further with your product and your organization. So one of the questions I get is, what do you do when people do have a personal mission statement that's a little bit different, or they're going in a different direction than the company or what you're trying to do with a particular product or marketing promotion? Well, I would say it's time to do a little bit of career counseling. it's probably time to let that person go. Now, some people say I'm mean, but actually, I think it's probably the best thing you could do for someone. If they're in a position where they're going against their mission and they're not being fulfilled, not only is your organization not going to be successful, but that person is not really going to be happy in that particular job. So in that case, I would say that career counseling is one of the best things that you could do. Career counseling meaning fire them. Now, this is a good time to talk about the concept of synergy. Now, synergy is 1 or 1 equals 3 or more. Now, obviously, this isn't a math class because you probably kicked me out of here. It's like, well, no, 1 + 1 = 2. Well, it's a little bit different when you're talking about synergy. Synergy means that one person come together and they're able to do more than they could do alone. An example of this is if you have, say, like a little square block of wood that can hold 10 pounds, and then you put it together with another little square block of wood that can hold 10 pounds, and you put them together, they can hold 100 pounds. Now, individually, they can hold 20 total. You put them together, they become much stronger, and they can hold 100 pounds. Now, this is the concept of synergy. And the reason why I'm talking about it here is when you've got your whole organization going in the same direction and working together, you can achieve amazing things through synergy and through working together. Now, I worked with the Disney company, and part of their training is to talk about the Disney magic. What is it about Disney that's so magical, and why have they been so successful? Well, in the end, the CEO, Michael Eisner, explains that the Disney magic is synergy. It's people working together, all coming together for a common purpose. They're able to accomplish much more than they could do on their own. Now, another component of defining a purpose is to have a vision. Now, this gets kind of confused and muddled, and there's a lot of different definitions going around, and people have their own way they like to put this. But for the purpose of this course, I'm going to explain mission and vision in 2 different ways. Mission is like a long-term focus of where you want to be, and vision is similar, but it's an actual picture. It's an actual visual picture that you can see. Now, for many companies, or if it's for a particular product, it becomes the logo, because it's a way to visually communicate what the organization or the product is about. Now, the reason why vision is important, or using something visual, is that people are very visual. It's another way to communicate with people. Some people, that's the way they learn, is by seeing. So to have a vision is very important, and to actually have it something distinct from your mission. Now, in some cases, when we're talking about alignment, you don't necessarily have to draw all these circles on the board, and you'll see organizations that are really working well together. They kind of have a natural alignment. Either they're put together that way, or people are drawn together, and they're working very well together. In sports, they usually call this chemistry. You'll see a team put together of individual players that don't look good on paper. Their stats might not be as good, but when you get the right combination of players working together, you're able to win championships. And actually, some of the best teams in history have been not those that have had 1 or 2 superstars, but have had a solid group of people that have all worked very well together and been aligned and had this chemistry and synergy and have been able to win championships. So when we're talking about defining our purpose, it really is a long-term focus. I get a lot of resistance when I try to go through this step with organizations, or when I'm doing marketing consulting. Usually the answer I'm given when I try to do a SWOT analysis or any kind of mission or vision work and alignment and getting everybody on the same page, it's usually, we don't have time for that. We just need to move forward. Everybody wants to jump straight into promotions, which is key 4. What I would say is, if you do that, and the least you're wasting some money, because you haven't clearly defined what it is that you're about, what your advantage is, and what your organization is about. And if everybody's not on the same page, you might spend millions of dollars on a campaign to tell people to call into your organization. But when they call in, depending on who answers the phone, they're going to get a different answer, because you don't have everybody on the same page. Everybody doesn't know what you're about, everybody doesn't agree about what you're about, and everybody's going in different directions. So this really is a long-term focus. If you want your company to be, in the words of Jim Collins, built to last, this is the kind of hard work you're going to need to do. But in the long run, it's going to be worth it. And you're going to have much better return on your investment once we get to the promotional process of marketing. So we've really spent a long time discussing what it is we're about and why we're doing it, the next step is to create an identity that really communicates this clearly to your target audience or market. And we'll talk about that tomorrow.